Hello and welcome to Coffee with Keerthi. Today we have somebody amazing. He's had more than 16 years of corporate experience across multi-industry domains. He's worked in retail, he's worked in banking, e-commerce, and consumer services and insurance. He's the CEO and co-founder of EarlySalary, India's largest consumer lending application for salaried individuals. His name is Akshay Mehrotra. Akshay, welcome to Coffee with Keerthi. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Keerthi. I'm doing quite well. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on Coffee with Keerthi. So, Akshay, we'll dive into the questions from here. So, I would like to know, how you started Early Salary. What is the background to Early Salary? What has been your entrepreneurial journey? For the past so many years after you left your corporate job and you started something. Tell us the background about Early Salary.
So I think we're a 5-year-old startup today. We started to solve a very simple problem that young working professionals could not get access to credit in a simplistic manner. We also noticed that if people need credit, it's fairly difficult for them. Banks were very traditional. At the same time, if you wanted money for a shorter duration, it almost took 3 to 4 weeks to get some money transferred to your bank. But that was the problem we wanted to solve. I think we were one of the first players in the country to introduce an instant loan on a mobile app 4.5 years ago. Today, we do almost 100,000 loans a month disbursed in runtime. That's in actual real time. So there is no wait for a customer. He opens an app, answers a few questions, gets money transferred into his bank.
Wow.
The second part, we were able to differentiate our core offering. If you look at it, we are called as early salary, which fundamentally means a salary advance.
Right.
And we have also factored in the product in a simplistic manner. So technically, if your salary is a couple of days away and you want to discount it early, you can actually do that with us.
Okay.
We have now received close to 10 million downloads and really managed a large consumer base.
Wow. Wow. So, when did it all start? I want to know, because see, it just didn't happen just in one day, right? How did our viewers would want to know, what is that which clicked for you, as in, moving from a corporate job to being a founder. Tell us about that journey.
So I think we had quite an interesting start, right? I think me and Ashish, the two co-founders, wrote down the business case literally on a piece of paper.
Okay.
We made a 5-slide presentation on a Friday evening.
Okay.
On Sunday morning, met our first investor and raised $1.5 million on that day.
Oh wow! Wow.
So we had a dream coming through where we didn't actually do too much of work.
Okay.
And we were able to pull off this entire efforts in real time.
Okay. Okay. So
Right? So I
you.
think it was, so
Yes.
that was very interesting. I think, but over the years, it's been really about building an organization from ground up.
Nice.
Startups come with its own challenges. I think we went up, down. While seed happened with great ease, it almost took us 120 venture pitches before we could raise Series A.
Okay.
We raised 4 million on Series A.
Wow.
We raised 60 million on Series B without stepping out of our office. And inbound interest for one of the most marquee investors came in.
Wow.
And that was literally within 2 months of our raising Series A.
Okay.
So while Series A took us almost 8-9 months to close, Series B closed in less than one meeting.
Wow.
Right? Again, in Series C, when we said we should go out, the market was having an extreme difficulty. We saw the NBFC crisis, we saw the banking crisis, but luckily because of our decision to take a very marquee investors in the beginning, they keep coming back and investing more and more and helping us grow further.
Nice.
And that's the important part. Today, once you have a dream, how do you chase it? And I think that's the difference between a career-oriented person and a founder mentality person.
Right. 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 Fantastic. I think there's a lot of background in the sense you have built that network even before you started. I think that's the message for a lot of founders, that when they venture out, the network that you had built earlier, it was easier for you to kind of transition from being in a job to founder and stuff. So tell us about how early salary works. When an individual downloads early salary app on his or her mobile, how does it work? You said it's instant. What is the logic that is behind giving somebody that instant loan?
I think, of course, we've evolved fairly. So when you download a mobile app, you answer a few questions.
Okay.
We hit bureau and read bank statements, etc., and do KYC. But more importantly, we have an artificial intelligence bot which runs to figure out things about you, your speed of application, the way you answer the question answered correctly, etc. Apart from doing risk assessment and ability to pay.
Yeah.
So all this happens in literally milliseconds. The customer doesn't realize when he's filling up the form, lots happening at the background. And typically, what we see that once the case comes into, let's say, the analytics engine, it's able to approve most of its people without any human intervention.
Oh,
For
wow.
example, when we are doing a large volume transaction,
Okay.
let's say in a month we get almost 200,000 inquiries.
Wow.
Uh, we are able to handle the entire operations by just three people.
Oh, wow.
Right? The
Wow.
entire underwriting function is just three people. Typically, if there was a bank who had to underwrite 200,000 loan applications, they would have a building full of people just to manage their transaction volume.
That-
But we have automated most of our practices and built technology to solve many of these issues.
Okay.
And that's the uniqueness, right? It's not only what you're answering, but the way you're answering, knowing your connected data to really figure out how to give credit. It's an
Right.
unsecured loan. See, we absolutely, there is no security to this loan,
Right.
but we are able to literally manage a good transaction at the same time, collect the money back in a seamless manner.
Nice, nice. Do you also kind of integrate and plug in the social media factor, as in your engine goes into the Facebooks and the Instas of the individuals and tries to kind of gauge something? Is that something
I
in
think when we
background?
started off 4.5 years back, we used to say that we are a social media lender. We need that data, etc. I think we have evolved. One, because of privacy, and the other part is also evolution of a company. Today,
Okay,
we're a metadata company. We're not really consuming physical data of people's social profile, etc. But we're identifying the connections IDs.
okay,
I think it's interesting from a perspective that data privacy has to be maintained in a very strong manner.
absolutely.
And I think some of these, what today many people are saying, oh, this is the cutting edge work, which happened 4 years back, so it's no more cutting edge. The
Right.
next level of evolution is took place maybe 18 months back,
Okay,
where we literally moved into behavioral intelligence on consumer,
okay,
which build the next level of scorecards. For
okay,
example, we run 9 parallel scorecards in runtime every day.
okay.
Uh, and these scorecards must have gone through almost 30, 40 versions of over the last 4 years
Nice,
to literally make sure what works, how they work, and bring down delinquency. I
nice.
think the success of any scorecard is if you give 100 rupees out, do you actually make money or not? And the second part, what's your delinquency? Today, on a cohort basis, we see sub 1% delinquency, which is extremely low.
Okay.
We call ourselves almost 6, 7 times more efficient than a traditional company
Wow.
when it comes to controlling risk. And
Okay.
that's what makes an interesting business, because you're actually trying to compete with large financial entities, banks and NBFCs. Their cost of borrowing is much lower, so you
Okay.
need to build cost efficiencies and risk efficiencies. If both come in well, you have a very strong business model coming in, and
Right.
you can actually compete in a much better manner.
Okay. Okay. Fantastic. Fantastic. And what is the range of loans that you guys give out when an individual comes on the app, and what is the repeat consumer coming onto that app? If I've taken a loan, do I come back again? What is that rate that you have right
So we lend from 8,000 rupees to 2 lakh rupees.
now? Okay. Okay.
Right, an average customer borrows close to 30,000 rupees from
Okay.
us.
Okay.
When the first time you come to us, we will give you, let's say, half your month's salary
Okay.
for a 3-month window. If we like you, we may give you double of that. And
Okay.
if we like you further, we may increase it to 4 times of that and then give you a 12-month EMI.
Okay.
We also open up our other products, which is ability to shop on Flipkart, Amazon, or Make My Trip,
Okay.
doing a skill upgradation or education loan through us, and multiple products open up.
Right.
I think what we have managed is retain 97% of our customers.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
Great.
And 87% of our customers have been upgraded into a larger limit product.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
Great.
Of course, that if it comes an average customer that we acquired, let's say 3 years back, what is the active ratio of those customers? So over a 3-year window, close to 56% of our customers are still active.
Oh,
An
wow.
average customer has taken more than 10 loans from us or 10 transactions with us.
Okay.
So
Okay.
literally, it's very high.
Okay.
I don't think across the financial services industry, anyone has seen such high customer retention, upgradation, and management systems.
Nice. 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 So in your entrepreneurial journey, Akshay, what have been the challenges, the mistakes that you've made so far with the product and with your own as an individual, being the founder and all of that? What mistakes that you have done that you would, and learnings out of it? What are those mistakes and learnings that you have for us?
I think there are two components whenever you look at building a company, right? First is you have to do many mistakes so that you can learn the right manner.
Right.
The second part is, can you carry forward your previous experience in a very sharp manner so you don't do the same mistakes here,
Right.
right? So
Right.
I think for me, I had a fair amount of corporate experience. My entire management team, co-founding team, etc., came from an extreme seasoned background.
Right.
So I'll just give you 2 minutes first on some of these elements. So I think we went from 2 people to close to 60 people in under 90 days, and we were able to
Wow.
launch a product.
Wow.
Right. So moving cities, setting up an office, hiring people, getting a license, and started lending. Right.
Nice.
We were able to crash course the entire thing in under 90 days, which meant that the ability to execute projects came from extreme perfection. Right. So we knew how to do project management in an extreme sharp manner, and also hire best in class people.
Okay. Okay.
Right. Now, in the journey when you went wrong, I think some of the things that you did in the beginning were not really making sense. You wanted to insource many systems. You wanted to have, let me build everything ourselves,
Hmm.
philosophies, right? I know it better. Process should be controlled by me. I think those thinkings is something which goes away over time,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
um, uh, I think the in between we said let's wait out, let's put perfect products in the market. We learned that listen, product cannot be perfect. It's an evolutionary window. You
Correct.
have to keep improving it every day.
Correct.
I think I was looking at our app build. If I'm right, we have done 357 app builds till date.
Oh, wow.
So if I look at a 4.5 year window, it
Right.
literally means every third day or a fourth day we have a new app. Right? It's a continuous development process, which is very important for people to look at
Right.
of how you're building, improving, putting up new versions, and learning from that. I
Absolutely.
think like some of the mistakes we did were very in the face. Like we acquired a couple of companies and we hired a couple of people, and we struggled to really get used or using that product. In fact, we destroyed one product completely.
Oh, God.
And that was the one learning that we got, that sometimes in race to say I want to do something more, you can't acquire that well and you can't really grow it in that manner. I
Correct.
think that's the other important part of how you look at business.
Okay.
Uh, Sometimes you have to pace it correctly,
Right. Right.
and you have to be very careful on the selection process that you end up doing.
Right.
I think we are the first ones to say that we want to do it asset heavy. Almost every fintech in the country said, I want to be a platform. I want to be asset light. Ventures don't like the idea of asset heaviness.
Right.
It was a struggle when we wanted to raise money. Ventures didn't like us.
Okay.
But when the market changed, then I think everyone said, oh no, you need to have your own assets. You can't work just as a platform.
Right.
Right. And suddenly everyone started running back to our category that, listen, this is the right way of doing. Let's follow what EarlySalary is doing. So
Absolutely.
how you pick the right battles and how you remain consistent with them. I
Right.
think that consistency is the other most important part. Not losing focus at what you are good at
Right.
is something which we learned over time.
Awesome. 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 So, now there are so many different apps that lend. If I just put a keyword called loan on Google Play Store, I get at least 10 to 15 different apps. How is early salary different? What is unique about you guys? Why should somebody take loans from you rather than going to any other app?
So there are 357 consumer lenders who have copied, who are similar to us, or many of them copied, etc. And many global entrants also came in.
Okay,
So I think the fundamental difference is really understanding what's the cost of borrowing. For
okay,
example, if you take 10,000 rupees from us,
hmm,
let's say if it's 1 day cost,
okay,
you'll end up spending between 6 to 9 rupees. If your company is tied up, it's six. If your retail customer, it's seven.
nice,
On or nine, it's not too much. It's much lower than a credit card.
right,
And there are some lenders who may charge you for that same 10,000 rupees, maybe 200 rupees.
oh God,
So literally knowing what you're borrowing against. The
right,
second part is privacy and how you manage customers. While many apps allow you to apply, they don't give you money in real time. There'll
right,
be a phone call, there'll be some physical KYC, someone will come to meet you to give you a loan, etc. We're
right,
a runtime product. There is no physical intervention. We don't believe in calling customers and telling them how to fill up a form. It is
right,
intuitive, easy to navigate.
right,
Um, and what we see, many of our consumers who may download multiple apps,
right.
after they repay the other partner, they simply come and move to us.
Okay,
They said,
okay,
this is I need to know what the correct cost of borrowing is, right?
okay,
And of course, the correct customer has to come to you. I
right,
think the second part, which is fundamentally different between us and others, is we are not a loan, we're actually a salary advance.
okay,
So literally, we are linked to the salaried, how much you earn and what is your ability to pay against that salary.
right.
So in many cases, we're able to tie up with very large corporates
Hmm.
and really work with the corporate to include financial inclusion to companies of employees.
Okay,
So today we have 525 large companies,
okay,
ranging from a 1,000 employee company to almost 3.5 lakh employee company.
wow,
I think 70 of them are listed companies, 24 of them are global MNCs,
nice,
and we're able to actually give a great product offering through their HR systems,
nice, nice.
which proves that when an employer accepts the product, it's a far bigger part, right? That your HR is recommending use a product like ours.
Correct, correct, correct. I think that's awesome because a lot of people, at the end of the month is when the cash crunch comes in, and they can actually relate to the name also, name of the app called Early Salary and stuff. Now, tell us about your team. The culture at Early Salary. If people have to join Early Salary, what are they looking at Early Salary as? Is it a fun place to be? Is it something where I will have a lot of growth for myself? Will I be learning a lot of things? What are the collaborations happening within the team? How is the culture at Early Salary? And how big is the team that you have right now?
So the ES family is close to 242 people, right?
Okay, okay,
Um, I would say I don't think we lose any people because they don't like us, right?
okay,
And the only people we must have lost is they want to go and do a future education,
okay,
or they're getting married and need to relocate, or are migrating from the country, right?
okay,
Apart from that, I really don't think we have any losses of employees, and they've been with us for a fair amount of time.
okay,
Uh, in fact, I was just looking at during lockdown, three people got married in the company, two people had children.
okay,
We have 100% attendance even while remote working.
okay.
Uh, our productivity levels have gone from 92% to 122%.
Oh
So it's
wow,
much higher productivity working at home.
wow.
What we have seen, we are a company which is hyper in energy,
Okay,
right? And either you fit in that energy or you just can't work in it.
okay,
It also means it's a if well today I can't show you my office, but it's the most open office you can actually find. It's a
okay,
culture which allows complete transparency. So there's no glass walls in office. There is no concept of anyone has a dedicated place. You sit where the work is required. If you're working on a special project, which is, let's say, involving underwriting, risk, ops, IT, everyone sits for that team at that point of time together. They
Right.
come and work and execute and finish a project.
Right.
The other part, I think we really believe in understanding data and making sense out of it.
Okay.
So almost every process that we deliver is driven from intelligence.
Okay.
That means that it's well thought through. There is an analytics team working with every person. There are machine learning specialists working with across the teams to make sure that we can automate, we can look at data in the right manner and solve the holistic problem.
Right.
Right? So that means our ability to attract that level of talent across teams has to be there. So
Right.
even let's say I would say name the department, let's say product team or underwriting team or risk team or collections team, all of them need to be tuned to the fact that they're going to use a lot of data to solve an actual problem,
Okay.
right? Because we're not going to hire more of those resources. Like an underwriting head manager who joined was told, listen, you can have two more people and figure out how we will go from 100 loans to 100,000 loans a month, but you
Right.
will never hire more people.
Right.
Right? So he had to reinvent the way he looked at underwriting to say, guys, it has to be automated.
Right.
Only the worst case we will look at. We'll do more fraud check than actual analysis,
Right.
and we'll get the analytics team to really work with us to automate the tasks.
Okay.
So the ML analytics team is the key focus. Technology teams are the key focus. That we can produce tech systems which are far more robust and better.
Okay.
I think the third element of a team is the ability to be cross-trained across verticals.
Okay.
So every few months we come out with projects
Okay.
and we actually give it to the team below to say that they need to be like CEOs of those projects to execute, build your own team behind them,
Right.
build a business plan, make sure you have an execution strategy, and you have a P&L that you're chasing to execute. I think that changes the way you look at. I think we'll be. I think the founding team would be far more successful at the end of another few years if we are able to create 20, 30 more entrepreneurs
Nice.
rather than any other people in the company.
Awesome. Awesome. I think the culture is more about energy and intelligence, right? You're trying to make people more intelligent. Of course, nobody is born intelligent, but when they hang out with more people who are data driven, who are trying to bring in more efficiency, automatically that kind of gets into you. So now you talk about some products that you guys are working on, like education loan and I think insurance and stuff. So how do you kind of integrate that within your early salary core? What are those other products that you guys are working on, and how is it useful for the consumer?
So if I look fundamentally, we get many people, right? Let's say a consumer comes to us, he gets his first credit line from us. He needs money on the month end to sustain the month, etc.
Right.
But why would he come back to us? He needs to do credit on a regular basis. He wants to buy one of these smartphones. He wants to buy a TV. He needs to pay his house deposit. He has a medical emergency, or he decides that, listen, my company gives me a 5 lakh rupee medical cover, but it doesn't cover my parents. I want to include my parents in my policy,
Right.
right? So those are real financial problems, and you need to understand those problems to really solve for it. For
Right.
example, we noticed many of our consumers like to buy things on Flipkart, Amazon.
Hmm.
So we went to Flipkart, Amazon, said, can we get a utilization of our limit?
Correct.
Then we looked at Make My Trip. Then we looked at skill upgradation is becoming a large need for young working professionals. Today, everyone realizes that every 2 years you reinvent your skill set. Otherwise, it's very difficult to retain jobs and get large hikes.
Right.
Which means that every person that we acquire today in the next 24 months is definitely do one skill upgradation loan,
Nice.
right? We need to provide for that.
Right.
And these are not large tickets loans. They are actually anything between 30,000 to 100,000 rupees,
Right.
but they're meant for a short duration course, maybe 6 week, 8 weeks. Right? But
Right.
there's no financial product for it. You have a 3 year or 2 year education loan for doing MBA, but
Right.
there's nothing to get a Python training done for you.
Right. Right. Awesome.
Right? So those are the type of things that we come and really work closely with the company, the employee, or the individual coming to us to facilitate some of these.
Awesome, awesome. So, Early Salary has more than 10 million downloads. You guys have done more than 1 million loans, ranging up to 2,000 crores is what you guys have lent. Now, what is the big vision that you have? What is that early salary is going to become in the next 5 to 10 years? Where do you see it going in terms of becoming India's largest lender? How is it? What do you have in your mind as a vision?
So I think first, there's no concept of becoming the largest lender. I give the example, the largest private sector bank or financial company only has 2% market share, HDFC, right?
Okay,
So the concept of being really large in financial services is just too weak, right?
okay,
You need to become a preferred lender to a
okay,
segment of people, and they have to love you for it.
right,
Right. I think we are trying to remain pristine to one segment, which is the young working professional.
right,
It's the largest growing community every year. In the last 2 years, it grew by 30% each year.
okay,
I think the 5-year predictions have been that it will increase by 100%.
okay,
So we need to be the top choice in that category.
okay,
I think to me there I think there's an overall 5-year plan that we're trying to chase. One is to have a $1 billion AUM,
right, okay,
right? Where asset under management shoots up to that level. Today we're close to 350 crores.
right,
And how does 350 become $1 billion is the first question.
right,
I think the second part that we really want to build is a clear entity where consumer trends are also measured by automation.
okay,
The idea is if we reach such a large company, can we still do it with similar or maybe 10% more increase in people?
okay, okay,
So the amazing technology that we build can power many more transactions without the need of physicality.
okay,
And I think the third goal that we're trying to really chase is that how do we build an entity to last for life,
right,
right? So as you create machine learning, how does it become self-learning?
right,
When you build platforms, how do they keep evolving continuously? So that
right,
the company can evolve and become a financial company for life and not just some fintech which came in and set up a startup.
okay. Awesome, awesome. So you told about technology, and you guys are already doing a lot of artificial intelligence and machine learning. Are you guys also, when it comes to fintech, there is another side that is really evolving is cryptocurrencies coming in, and as far as that, first question is what are your views about crypto? And second is, are you guys also incorporating blockchain as a technology for early salary?
Very interesting. Actually, my head of technology has written a book on blockchain.
Oh wow,
It's got published. It's on Amazon, etc.
nice.
So I think we have the ability. I keep pushing him. Is there any logic of using blockchain in lending? He comes and says, no, there is none.
Oh,
Let's not go and jump in. There are many things which need blockchain, many things which are trackable. I
right,
think financial services by design need to have clear audit trails,
right.
right? And money needs to move in the legitimate manner. So crypto and some of these systems are not really the right way to look at.
Okay,
Right. Also, I think the Indian context, it's going to be just too far fetched to
okay,
actually have crypto loan coming in. At least, so that's not happening, right? So I think we need to remain focused on how do you use ML.
okay.
So there are two parts. One is AI, and the second is ML.
Correct.
See, financial services where actual risk is looked at.
Right,
For example, we need to operate at 99.4% efficiency,
right.
right? Which means the variables going in have to be understood by people so they can actually take out the genie behind it.
Okay,
Right? It's not a black box system which will run,
absolutely.
right? Which means AI cannot happen, ML can happen,
Right, right,
right? And it's very difficult for people to understand the difference between the two.
right,
But financial companies need to be best in class in ML,
right.
and I think that's what we are trying to do. We have an extreme strong team
Okay,
um, between our head of analytics and head of technology. Both the people bring in very strong skill sets, and
nice,
they are able to then hire the next talent to really build those tools also.
nice, nice, nice. So I have last two questions for you. One, tell us about your role model. Who do you look up to? Who has inspired you to be what you are today?
I think role models have kept changing over time, and we're seeing many of these evolutions take place as we go along.
Okay.
But I think I'm truly inspired by two books
Okay.
and the learning behind these books and between the author and who they have been written about.
Okay.
So one is founder's mentality,
Okay.
right? I think it allows people to really create that mindset. While most people believe that you're born founder, you're born a worker mentality, I think it can be inculcated,
Right.
and you should apply that in every rule that you put, because as you hire more people, you have to build entrepreneurs in them to execute processes. The second is the trillion dollar coach.
Okay.
I think again the philosophy really comes as you build large companies and learning from Google, learning from GE, etc.,
Right.
or from Amazon, and almost every single founder that you met. I worked with three large founders before. Kishore Biani directly. I worked with Sadashiv. I worked with Kamesh Goyal, who's founded Digit now, and I've also worked with Ashish. He's the founder of Policy Bazaar. So really, all three, four of them have been really successful at what they're doing. Right. One of the things which I learned is the while there's a great vision and there's a lot to be done, and you need to have that perfect. You need to be perfect to choose what to execute.
Right.
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 And the clarity to execute perfectly is the most important in building business.
Right.
I like these. I think I'm inspired by almost every story within these two books.
Okay.
I don't want to individually name one person. It's great to, this is the mentor I should chase in
Right.
life. But the way you uh, look at a problem, it gives you a much clearer vision.
Awesome. 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 So last question to you. Give our entrepreneurs who are watching this a message. What would that message be in terms of running a fintech and also just a startup in general?
I think I'll first give it for startups, right? So when someone says, no, it's not going to work, don't give up. It's going to have patience, have perseverance. It does work, right? That's the one for founders. I think the other part today, every single business model is going to be challenged,
Right.
right? So you may feel earlier, I built a business model until it became scale. I needed funding to continuously run. It's going to all evolve. So don't worry, you're actually in a better position because you have a running business already,
Right.
or you have a running concept already. So that's the good part. Be extremely agile to um, to really face the new customer coming in, a new way of running business.
Right.
So everything we did pre March has changed,
Right.
right? In the next 3 months, the new normal will happen.
Right.
So as you now become entrepreneurs, you need to be far more agile, far more data driven, far more uh, 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 EQ driven than IQ driven only,
Right.
right? And I think these are the rules where entrepreneurs will become really good. Yeah. And I think the feedback for fintechs would be, guys, we are facing our toughest time,
Right.
right? It's lending, and fintech lenders are going to face the toughest time because lending goes through its own turmoil when downturn happens.
Right.
Remain patient. Remain the ones who will survive of this will make us really good and really really solid companies. Don't forget, while rest of the country is facing their first, or rest of the world is facing their first crisis, the financial services went through two NBFC crises and one banking crisis in the last 18 months. So we
Right.
are far more better prepared than anyone else. So yeah, I think we can all do a great job of what we're doing.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Akshay, for coming on Coffee with Keerthi and helping us with all the insights that you have and so much experience that you shared with us. Thanks a lot, and thanks for
You,
all the information that you. Thanks so much.
sure, pleasure. Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.